Hello and welcome to Brand Your Passion, the show that helps you turn the thing you love the most into something that people know and love you for. I'm your host, Holly Arnett, the brand coach for creatives, and I'm on a mission to make the world a more creative place, one brand at a time. If you're ready to get more eyes on your work, more dollars in your pocket, and more creativity in your life, you're in the right place. Welcome. Let's brand your passion. Hey everybody, and welcome back to this week's episode of Brand Your Passion. This week I'm super excited. I feel like I say that every time, but it's because I'm very excited always to talk to you. I'm excited today to talk to you about some design stuff because I feel like often when we talk about branding, obviously the first thing you want to do and the most important thing you want to do is brand strategy, right? And getting clarity about all the things that you do. And we spend so much time focusing on that because it's important. But then obviously, the next part of building your brand is doing some design work and visualizing your vision, making some incredible assets for your brands. Today, we're going to talk all about how to create unstoppable design elements for your brand. All about how you create design elements that are going to enable you to build an unstoppable brand. So a brand that can help you achieve whatever goals you have or to take you wherever you want to go. I want to help you to make design elements for your brand that are going to work whatever you're doing, wherever you're doing it, however you're creating. I want to help you to make design elements that are going to make all of that possible. So there are a bunch of different design elements that go into a brand, right? That's things like your logo, and you have hopefully multiple versions of your logo. So you might have a primary logo and then a secondary logo, and then you will maybe have like just an icon. So there are a bunch of different logos. That's kind of the main thing. It's the one that everybody worries about and stresses about. That's the key kind of stamp, the key brand element that you're going to have. You also are going to have your brand typography. So this is another design element for your brand. It's used everywhere. So type is so important. I studied typography when I studied design. It was like my main topic because it's so important. It's applied everywhere, right? So if you're creating your website or content for social media, or you are creating posters or flyers about your brand, all of these things are going to include typography, and typography is so powerful in creating kind of a mood or sending a message. So it's a really powerful and important element for your brand. Next, you're also going to have your color palette. So this is another huge part of your visual identity, and your color increases recognition of a brand by 70 or 80%, I think it is. So it's huge, right? The more you have a recognizable color palette, the better and more strong and recognizable and memorable your brand is going to be. And that's what we want for your brand. We want it to be memorable, for people to recognize you wherever you are. If they see you on the other side of a market, they know that it's you. If they spot your stuff on Twitter, they know automatically that it's you. If they receive an email newsletter, they know it's from you. Having a clear color palette is really powerful in gaining that recognition. So that is another powerful and important brand design element for you. Another design element for your brand is imagery, so photos and videos. Brand photography is a really important thing for you to have for your brand, whether you are a service provider, you're doing like design or copywriting or whatever it is that you're creating for people. Or if you are a product-based business, so you're selling like prints or pins or candles or whatever it is that you're making, whether you have products or services, you want to have photos of those things, right? And of you, of your creative space, of the products and services that you're selling, of like your services in action, your products kind of in situ in people's homes and things like that. So photo and video is a really important design element of your brand, and it's kind of might not seem like a design element because you're not like designing things on the computer, but it is kind of design in the way that branding designer will often kind of creative direct your brand photo shoots, or they will kind of curate an Unsplash collection for you full of stock imagery that is aligned with your visual direction, right? So photo and video are really important and powerful tools in creating the overall design of your brand. And lastly, lastly, there are graphics. So things like illustrations, icons, patterns, textures, all of these things that are going to be used all over your brand, right? These are going to be things that you're going to be using on your website in like downloadable PDFs, stickers on your packages. All of these things are super, super important and really help to differentiate your brand, right? So they're those special little touches, especially patterns and illustrations, that make your brand stand out from everybody else's, because they can be so custom, so unique, and so magical in creating your brand. Now we kind of have an idea of what the design elements are that can go into your brand. Let's talk about how you want to actually go about creating these unstoppable design elements, right? Number one, and I mentioned this before, is the first thing that you want to do before you do anything else is to get clarity on your identity, your people, and your voice. So there's no point in kind of making these design elements if you don't know why you're making the certain decisions about the things that you are including. If you are just picking colors out of thin air, or copying illustrations from somebody else's brand, or making up your typography, like all of these things, if you're just kind of doing them with no strategy and no direction, I can almost guarantee you that you're going to have to do them again. They're not going to align with everything that you are and that you want to do and who your audience is, and B, they're not going to last you a long time. So they're not going to be timeless strategic decisions. They are going to be decisions made on a whim because of trends, and that's not what we want. Number one is that you want to uncover your identity. This is all about knowing your vision, your mission, your values, your story, your goals. If you've listened to the podcast before, or you've consumed any of my content, you know that this is the key to everything. It's really going to help you to think about where your brand needs to go in the future, the vision that you want your visual brand to represent, and the values that you want to convey. Uncovering your identity and knowing your vision, your mission, your values, your story, and your goals is really going to help you to choose the design elements and design those design elements based on your brand strategies. They're going to be intentional decisions that think about where you're going in the future, what you are wanting to achieve, and kind of the values you want to represent. You also want to make sure that you have pinpointed your people. This is all about knowing your ideal audience and your positioning in the communities. You want to know who your ideal people are and what kind of attracts them. What is the design styles that they love that is going to convey the right feelings that you want them to feel, that is going to catch them on Instagram or on the street, and for them to be like, oh my gosh, I love that. That's totally my style. That totally appeals to me. So you want to know your audience, and then you also want to know your positioning in the community, right? What are other artists doing? What are other copywriters doing? What are other brand designers doing? Not because you want to copy them or emulate them or be like them or fit in. It's the opposite, right? So you want to see what these people are all doing and see, where do you fit in there, and how can you stand out and position yourself in a unique position in that community based on your visual identity. Knowing these things is really going to help you figure out what graphics are going to appeal to your audience and help you to stand out from everybody else in your community. And you also want to make sure that you have found your own unique, magical, personal voice. This is all about knowing your personality, the tones of voice that you use, the content pillars that you are going to be creating, and the platforms that you're going to be creating on. This is going to help you think about what you want to say, how you want to say it, and where you want to say it, right? You can know going into creating what is the message that you're wanting to get across, how is your personality going to be coming across, what is that personality and what makes it so unique, and how are you going to be communicating that with your audience. So you know, okay, well, this is who I am, this is what I'm trying to say, so I can choose and create graphics that are going to align with those things. Once you have uncovered your identity, you know who you are, who your people are, what your voice is and your personality, turn that into kind of a visual direction, what I like to call defining your vibe. Based on everything you've just written down about you and your audience and your personality, or maybe you already have clarity about all that stuff, you want to think about how you want people to feel when they encounter your brand. So do you want them to feel super excited and energized and like it's going to be like a ton of fun? Or do you want them to feel really calm and relaxed and soothed? Or do you want them to feel really powerful and bold, empowered? How do you want them to feel when they encounter your brand? And what you're going to do as you move on, and what I always do when I'm designing brands, keep that list of words next to your mood board, next to the things that you're creating, and think, am I communicating those feelings? If I look at this mood board, if I look at these graphics, do I feel calm and relaxed and soothed? Or do I feel super energized and fun and positive? Keep those words by you. They're really important and guiding words to help you create intentional and strategic brand graphics. You can also take keywords from work that you did earlier on your identity, your people, and your voice, and then find inspiration based on those words. So say you wrote down a bunch of stuff about your audience and you wrote down the kind of people that they are or the personality traits that you have. You can find inspiration on Pinterest or Unsplash or whatever, written stuff down about your personality. You can look up words. So I might look up things like colorful, bold, whatever it is that my personality is. I can look up those words on these kind of inspirational sites to find inspiration for your mood board. And the key with this is to not look up bold design or bold branding. You can do that, but what's more powerful is to look up things like ceramics, sculpture, art, or writing, quotes, photography, like all of these different kind of things that are going to evoke feelings that aren't necessarily things you're just going to kind of directly copy, if that makes sense. What you're trying to do with a mood board is to find inspiration, but not find something that you're going to just duplicate. Your next step is to create a mood board that is going to define your vibes. Use those kind of key emotions that you want to convey. Use those key words that have come up through your identity and your people and your voice, and create a mood board. Like I said, what you want to do is to keep those emotions by your side as you're doing that, so you can double check with that, and also keep checking in with your identity, your people, and your voice, so you can check in and think, okay, as I'm creating this mood board, does it feel aligned with my vision? Does it feel aligned with the values that I have? Does it feel like it's going to appeal to the people that I want to appeal? So keep checking in backwards and forwards, asking yourself these questions as you are making your mood board. Once you have created your mood board, then you can go into designing the actual elements. And the thing here is this actually creating those elements is sort of the shortest part of the process, because if you have done step 1 and 2 and done it like properly, so you've done all your brand strategy, you've done defining your vibe and like finding your visual direction and making sure that that really aligns and feels good, then actually creating the design elements should be really, really easy. It should be straightforward. You know, like exactly what you're trying to say, exactly who your people are, all of this stuff. So it makes it like, oh, obviously I'm going to use these colors. Obviously I'm going to use these fonts. They convey these certain things, and that's what I'm trying to convey. When it comes to colors and fonts, there are a lot of really clear meanings or feelings that they both evoke. So you can look those up again. So you can look up like happy fonts or happy colors, or like a bunch of that kind of thing. And you will find different meanings for different fonts and different colors, and find ones that align with what you're trying to achieve. There are some things to remember when you are creating these design elements for your brand. And I've come up with a handy dandy acronym that I'm calling the TUFF acronym. So this is for if you want a tough brand that's gonna like stand the test of time and be amazing, outstanding, wonderful. It's gonna last you forever. Okay, so it's TUFF, TUFF, because that's how I like to describe myself. I'm like tough, but I'm also like cute. So I'm like tough, TUFF. Anyway, so T, timeless. What you want to make sure that you're doing when you are creating these assets or these elements of your brand is do not get sucked into trendy things. You want to be building a timeless brand that is going to last you not forever, but a long time. I don't want you to create something that's trendy and cool now and get 6 months or a year down the line and have to redo it all again because it's not actually aligned. You're just choosing things that are cool on Instagram and everybody else is doing. So T is for timeless. U is for unique. I want you to create brand elements that are unique and that when you combine them together, create something like incredibly unique. Don't worry about what X person over here is doing for their brand and the design of their brand, or what this person over here is doing and trying to copy them. Don't worry about it. Just do you. Use your brand strategy, use all that clarity that you have about your identity and your people and your voice, and use those to create unique elements that are one of a kind to you, work for you because you have that unique strategy. So that's you. Unique, unique, unique. The first F is flexible. One of the worst things that you can do for your brand is to restrict it too much. So if you just give yourself one color, one font, and one pattern, you are going to run out of assets and elements and not have a flexible enough system that's going to last you a long time. It's better to have 3 to 5 colors and 2 to 3 fonts, a suite of patterns that are all aligned, or a bunch of like shapes and elements that like I have that I can interchange and swap in and out and do different combinations with that make it limitless. The potential options are endless. You want to have like a suite of images, a suite of illustrations and icons. You want to have a system that is flexible so that you can create assets for different products that you're launching or different services and create sub brands that still work with your overall brand. Or if maybe you do quarterly launches in your shop and you can create things that are on brand but different every time, you want to make sure that the brand that you're creating isn't too restrictive. It needs to be flexible. Don't stress about just having one color and one font. That's not going to be helpful. What you actually want to do is, have a range of things that when combined together are all going to be aligned but flexible. And lastly, the last F of TUFF is future-proof. I want you to think about your goals and your vision and your future when you are designing these elements, because branding isn't just about designing for where you are right now. It's about designing for where you want to go. If you are here right now, you want to build a brand and design a brand that's here so that you can bring yourself up to that point. Say, for example, I'll use myself as an example, right? So in the future, I would love to be speaking at conferences and featured on lots of other people's podcasts and like be well known, okay? So when I'm designing my brand, I need to think about the future and those goals, and is my brand going to work in those situations? Is it going to be the quality that I want it to be if I'm going to be speaking on stages and I'm going to be on other people's podcasts? It's the same for if you want to write a book, launch new products, or whatever it is that's in your future that your goals are. You want to be creating a brand that's going to work for those things in the future, for the goals that you have. So make sure that you future-proof your brand. Don't just focus on like where you're at now and what you're doing now, but think about where you're going in the future, the vision that you have for your business and your brand going forward, and the goals that you want to achieve. That's it. We have covered what those design elements are that you are going to be using in your brand, how to make sure that you have kind of the foundations ready to create those elements. So knowing your identity, your people, and your voice. Then how to turn that into a visual direction and defining your vibe to make sure that you are communicating the right feelings and getting the right kind of keywords across and appealing to the right people, and making sure you get that right before you you move into actually doing things, then you are going to create those assets and those elements that work with the direction that you want to go on, making sure that you are always checking in with those feelings, going back to your mood board, making sure it's all aligned and feels good. And then you are going to use the TUFF acronym to make sure that you are building a unstoppable brand by creating brand design elements that are timeless, unique, flexible, and future-proof. So hopefully this has been super helpful. I would love to see you going through this process. So if you are getting clarity on that initial stuff, if you're making a mood board, if you're creating those design elements, please do tag me on Instagram or Twitter. I would love to see it. And otherwise, I hope you have enjoyed this episode. Please make sure to leave a comment down below if you're watching the video, and like and subscribe. And if you are listening to the podcast, it would mean the world to me if you could leave a review and tell me that you're enjoying it. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one. Thanks for listening to this episode of Brand Your Passion and choosing to spend some time with me learning about branding, business, and all things creativity. You can find more episodes just like this one at blackandwhitestudios.nz/brandyourpassion. If you liked this one, you can tap that subscribe button so that you're notified about every new episode. And if you've got a spare second, I would love it if you could leave a review on iTunes or wherever you're listening to this podcast right now. I would love to hear from you and hear about how you're enjoying the podcast. If there were some helpful goodies in this episode for you, it would mean the world to me if you could screenshot your podcast player on your phone right now, hop over to Instagram or Twitter and tag me at Black and White Studios. That's at BLCKWHT Studios. By subscribing and reviewing and sharing, you're helping me to reach more creators just like you so that together we can make the world a more creative place, one brand at a time. I really can't achieve this mission without you, so your support means the world. I'll talk to you in the next episode, but until then, keep creating.